Good evening, everyone. Severe, the Team 9 meteorologist, Nate the Chat, joining you for this edition of Nate at 8. And the big story, of course, for this edition is going to be those temperatures. A cold couple mornings ahead Thursday and Friday before we do see a surge of some warmer air on Saturday. And how cold? Well, cold enough that some frost is possible going into the next couple of mornings. And that's what we're going to really dive into here near term over the next couple of days. Of course, the big story, again, temperatures. And that's a big story of what we're going to be talking about for this edition of Nate at 8. Thank you so much for tuning in. Without further ado, let's jump into things. And our current temperatures right now are dropping into the 50s, coming off of highs that were into the 60s. We trended cooler today due to more cloud cover in place, and a time lapse overlooking the city of Steubenville showing that cloud cover going into the latter part of this afternoon, but also seeing those clouds clear as that sun set for this evening. And we've already now dealing with clear skies, a calming wind, and now we're on our way. Its temperatures are going to really drop off into tomorrow morning with those low temperatures into the 30s and likely more upper 30s, lower 40s along south of I-70 and more mid upper 30s north of I-70. So where low temperatures are trending a little bit colder tomorrow morning, north of I-70 is where we have a frost advisory in effect for tomorrow morning. That includes Tuscarawas, Carroll, Harrison, Columbiana, Jefferson, Brooke, Hancock County. Those are the counties highlighted in the blue. Those are locations, again, the best chance to wake up to some frost tomorrow morning. Still likely more patchy in nature, but that's where we have that best potential to deal with some frost is for those areas. Again, likely trending a little bit warmer near I-70, more upper 30s and even possibly lower 40s than for locations south of I-70. Regardless, it's a chilly, cold start to tomorrow. Just really talking about a temperature difference of a few degrees for the most part across portions of the area, but that can make the difference between some frost and no frost. In the areas north of I-70, the best chance to wake up to some frost for tomorrow morning. Now, going into Friday, anticipating that frost to be more widespread. With respect to tomorrow morning, that's when low temperatures are mid-upper 30s likely across the area. And for those locations under that frost advisory for tonight, tomorrow night, locations north of I-70 can not only be mid-30s, but maybe even some lower 30s in the mix. The best chance of that towards Columbiana and as well as Hancock County. So Columbiana and Hancock County are actually under a freeze watch for Friday morning. Those locations are the best chance to even see temperatures dip into the lower 30s. So those mid-lower 30s even possible for some locations north of I-70, but most of us for Friday morning, it'll be mid-upper 30s. But again, that's cold enough. The patchy frost threat is likely present for most of the area, if not all of the region, for Friday morning. So it can be a little more widespread frost risk Friday morning with respect to Thursday morning. Our series of cold mornings then leave us by this weekend. Those low temperatures back in the 40s Saturday, 50s even by Sunday. It's going to feel warm Sunday morning with respect to Thursday and Friday morning. Then back in the 40s likely on Monday morning. And that's a surge of some warmer air. And not only do we see lows in the 50s Sunday morning, but those highs Saturday leading into Sunday morning are into the 70s. And the record high on Saturday is 81 degrees. And we're likely closer to that Saturday with respect to the normal high, which is 64 degrees. So not to say we're dealing with record-breaking warmth Saturday, but again, we're not far from it. Those temperatures are climbing well in the 70s for the start of the weekend before a cold front passage does deliver a cool down into next week. And overall, next week does look cooler with respect to what we saw earlier this week and what we're going to see for Saturday. Overall, next week, I think as a whole, is going to end up a bit cooler with respect to this week. We'll deal with those high 60s, even possibly some 50s in the mix for next week. So a little bit of a cooler stretch of weather possible next week as we look ahead over the next 10 days. But again, certainly the big story here near term, a couple cold mornings give way to a unseasonably warm afternoon Saturday, a bit of a whiplash in these temperatures over the next few days, which, it could be typical to get these big temperature swings this time of the year, which are likely on the order of 40 plus degrees from Friday morning into Saturday afternoon. But these transitional seasons, we can get these big temperature swings, and certainly living up to it as we go into this weekend. A bit of a whiplash, a couple seasons in a matter of a couple days coming our way. Drew, good evening. I was wondering when the rain will roll in on Sunday. We'll get to that in just a minute there. Drew, wondering when the leaves will start turning as well. And already starting, Drew, and we'll turn peak here now for the second half this month. So look for peak occurring over the next couple of weeks. So we're in the process, and it'll start to turn peak going into the second half, which again, over the next couple of weeks, we'll be reaching peak fall foliage across the area. Austin, good evening. Today was a very warm fall day, plus that wind was blowing. That night air is very chilly, perfect for staying inside and watching Nate at 8. Couldn't agree more, Austin. Thank you, Austin, as well as Drew. Thank you both for tuning in to this edition of Nate at 8, and everybody, thank you. And yeah, certainly, Sunday is going to be a good day for indoor activities as well. But yeah, these chilly nights, good to stay in and bundle up, right? And hard to get going on those colder mornings. It's hard to get out of bed and get going, isn't it? And unfortunately, that's going to be the case over the next couple of mornings. And that is, yes, that is due to not only dry air, but it's also due to the fact we're dealing with clear skies and calm winds for these overnight hours. And these clear skies in place for tonight will carry over Thursday. So after that chilly or really cold start to Thursday, a lot of sunshine present. It's going to be beautiful for Thursday. A little cool, highs mid-lower 60s, a little cooler with respect to today, but a lot of sunshine. Going to be a gorgeous Thursday across the Ohio Valley, and still dealing with clear skies into Friday morning. Now, throughout the day Friday, we'll notice more clouds spill into the region as we go throughout the day. And we'll notice a further increase in cloud cover where it's a sunny start, but it turns partly cloudy on us as we go throughout Friday. By all means, still a pleasant day Friday, just dealing with some additional cloud cover, highs likely mid-upper 60s into Friday afternoon, and that additional cloud cover then will keep those lows as we look ahead into Saturday morning. It'll likely be back in the 40s, so not as cold by Saturday morning. And from there, while we deal with some cloud cover overnight into Saturday morning, we can see some sun at times breaking out throughout the day Saturday. And again, those highs Saturday afternoon are well into the 70s. We stay dry for the start of the weekend, but then comes that next round of rain that Drew was asking about. And its arrival time will likely be by Sunday morning. So it holds off even likely for the first half of Saturday night. There's a look at midnight Saturday night. And the rain likely not too far from us, but it does likely hold off until we get more so after midnight. And then it starts to build in across the area into Sunday morning. So we're dealing with some rain already likely with us for the start of the day Sunday morning. And then it just stays with us occasionally throughout the day. Once that front then positions itself much further to the east, we'll notice as in the wake of that frontal passage, some dry air moving in, cutting off a lot of that precipitation going into Monday morning. So we'll see a drying trend overnight Sunday into Monday morning, but up until Sunday night, we're anticipating that rain with us again for the start of the day Sunday all the way into Sunday night before by Monday morning, a lot of this rain makes its exit. So it is going to be a pretty soggy Sunday likely across the area as we could be picking up a decent amount of rain over the course of Sunday. We could deal with rainfall upwards of half inch, maybe up to an inch, but good odds for at least about a half inch of rain is what most of us can see. And again, it could even reach up to about an inch of rain. And of course, most of that will be falling as we go throughout the daytime on Sunday. It can start late Saturday night. Most of the rain that we're going to see falls throughout Sunday. Could be heavy at times, maybe a rumble of thunder. Maybe we could sneak in a rumble of thunder. We will be seeing some gusty winds. I think wind gusts are easily upwards of 25, maybe even excess of 30 miles per hour. So we look for some gusty winds with that cold front passage and the rain on Sunday. And again, just not good conditions to be enjoying the outdoors. But if you're trying to make weekend plans and on Saturday, going to be good to do so. Again, not anticipating a threat for rain for the start of the weekend. Highs well in the 70s, unseasonably warm, mix of sun and clouds, and just pleasant start to the weekend. But certainly Sunday, less than ideal for outdoor activities on Sunday. Because again, we're dealing with it occasionally throughout the day. Likely not too many breaks in it, unfortunately, in place throughout on Sunday, and wind speeds will pick up as well. And we'll have that breeze present for likely the entirety of Sunday as well. And someone's asking, will it snow? Toolman asking, will it snow on Halloween? Good question. We'll see. The overall pattern is favoring some above normal temperatures for a lot of the stretch going into the end of the month. So if you were to place bets looking over 2 weeks from now, the best bet would be that it is no, with an unseasonably warm pattern likely for a lot of this stretch. The best bet would be no, but it's too early to say for certain. That's for sure. But yeah, a little over 2 weeks away from Halloween, and the overall long-range forecast still favoring some, for the most part, above normal temperatures. What has been the windiest day in October? Boy, that's a great question, Austin. I have to do some digging on that, but asking what the windiest day in October is, I could do some digging. I'm sure I could find the highest wind gusts we have on record in October for the Wheeling area, but unfortunately, I don't know that off the top of my head, but I could do some digging. We'd have to do some digging. We could find that. When will the winds roll in on Sunday? You say, yeah, likely for Drew, likely just for a lot of the day Sunday. It probably likely picking up even in the morning. So for most of the daytime Sunday, we'll likely have that breeze in place, and we'll see some gusty winds into the afternoon. Again, wind gusts in excess of 20, maybe at times 30 miles per hour, likely for the vast majority of the daytime Sunday. Winds do look to diminish some Sunday night. I don't think it's quite as windy Sunday night. Still at least a bit of a breeze, but it'll pick back up Monday. We could deal with wind gusts back upwards of at least 25 miles per hour again Monday. So just a series of pretty breezy days Sunday as well as Monday. And I wouldn't be surprised Monday if those high temperatures, they may even hold in the 50s. We'll see how far we can climb. We can reach into the 60s, but it's going to be tough. And again, if we don't hit the 50s Monday, there's even better odds that we'll stay in the 50s later into next week. So a little bit of a cool pattern. Normal highs, they start to fall mid-lower 60s this time of the year. Not to say it's really cool pattern, right? It's not far from normal. Normal high 64 degrees this time of the year. And again, it starts to fall even closer to 60 going into the end of the month. So the averages are starting to continue to drop this time of the year, but a little bit below normal pattern possible for next week. Drew says, I can't remember a cold Halloween since I've been in the Ohio Valley, which dates back 13 years. I can remember some here, Drew, recently where we've seen a little bit of flurry activity. I'd have to look back to see what year that was, but I do remember some Halloweens we've had some flurries in the mix. We've had some cold Halloweens over recent years. We at least had a little bit of flurries in the mix for our Halloween. We'll see. But again, I think this year, the overall pattern, long-range forecast, and no, there's a little bit of cooler stretch next week, but the overall pattern has still been dealing with not only seasonable, but some seasonable to above normal temperatures. And, placing bets, that would be the best bet right now with trying to forecast over 2 weeks away, is that it would be better odds for no snow than some snow for our trick-or-treaters on Halloween, our trick-or-treaters. But certainly could, we've seen some cold Halloweens in the mix and even some flurries. I can think back to some recent years. Let's see, 45-50 on Halloween night is not cold tonight, Drew says. So 45-50 on Halloween night is not cold tonight. 45 to 50 on the seasonable. Yeah, if we see that normal low around 45 degrees, chilly, but yeah, certainly not a cold Halloween night, that's for sure. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Thank you so much for tuning into this edition of Nate at 8. I hope everyone had a wonderful day. Could soak up a little bit of sun, not as much today, but a lot more on the way for your Thursday, and it'll help get going. At least the sunshine will be there on a series of some cold mornings. We'll see more of a Friday morning before again more clouds spill into the area going into the weekend, and then comes the rain on Sunday, our one wet day that we have for this week before it's back to some drier conditions Monday, maybe sneaking in some more showers around next Tuesday, and then rain chances fall off again next Wednesday into Thursday. Drew, thanks, Nate, for the update. Thank you. You have a great night. You too. And see you on the 11 o'clock. Sounds good, Drew. Thank you again for tuning in to this edition of Nate at 8, as well as everybody. Thank you as always. I hope everyone had a wonderful day. Has a great night. You can catch me coming up News 9 at 10 on Fox Side, News 9 tonight at 11. And as always, for that next edition of Nate at 8, which coming up, let's see, we are at, I was going to get my days straight. We're on Wednesday, right? We're on Wednesday, tomorrow, Thursday. So we have coming up Thursday night lights and Friday night rivals. So stay tuned for some high school football action. Series of pretty cool evenings for high school football games going into Thursday and Friday. So our next edition of Nate at 8 is next week with some high school football action coming up on the next couple of evenings with Thursday Night Lights and Friday Night Rivals. Make sure to stay tuned with those, and I'll see all of you next week on that next edition of Nate at 8.